Former Defense Secretary William Cohen was at the museum at the time and heard the shooting. His wife, Janet Langhart Cohen, was on her way there for the rehearsal of her new play, which ironically deals with eradicating hate crimes. The Cohens join us this morning from Washington. Mr. and Mrs. Cohen, good morning.
Good morning, Maggie.
Secretary Cohen, let me begin with you. You had just arrived at the museum and you heard the shots. Did you know immediately that they were gunshots?
I did. I had arrived much earlier and had come up to try to make contact with Janet, who was scheduled to arrive momentarily. And so I was on the phone trying to get a radio signal on the phone to touch base with her in the car. At that point, I noticed there was a car parked, it seemed to be out in the middle of the street, and an older man getting out of the car, but I didn't pay much attention to him as I was on the phone. And then a few seconds later, I heard the gunshots. It was pretty clear that they were gunshots. Arthur Berger, one of the chief executives at the museum, he and I were together about 5 feet apart, and we were about 30 or 40 feet from where the shots were ringing out, and we just ducked as low as we could and went up a set of stairs to get to the second level.
Describe the scene around you.
Well, it was fairly chaotic. As we went up the stairs, we didn't know if people were going to be following us up, whether there were more than one gunman. And as we approached the stairs, there were a group of people who had just completed their tour of the museum, and so they were on their way out, and they wanted to go down those stairs and to leave the building, but we were able to stop them, saying, don't go there. It's
right.
Too dangerous. So,
Mrs. Cohen, let me bring you in. You finally arrive at the scene, what is now a crime scene. Your husband is inside. What's going through your mind?
Oh, it's a myriad of things, Maggie. It was opening night jitters. I was thinking about my final rehearsal of the play, Ann and Emmett, and then when Bill told me there had been a shooting in the museum, my first concern was about him and the others there, Arthur Berger, and my cast and crew, and I thought about the young children there. If you've ever been to the Holocaust Museum during the day, it's like children passing in classes at middle or high school auditoriums or hallways. And I just thought of everyone. And while I'm thinking of everyone, I want to offer our condolences to the family of Officer Johns. I know they're in extreme grief, and we share that grief. We would see him from time to time when we'd go in and out of the museum, and on days that it was raining, he was kind enough to meet me at the door and have an umbrella for me and welcome me in.
You mentioned your play, Ann and Emmett, which is an imaginary conversation between Holocaust survivor Anne Frank and Emmett Till, a young man who was lynched back in the 50s in Mississippi. Ironically, the play ends with them being hopeful about the future.
Yes, Anne Frank, as you know, the story, always believed in the goodness of people. She believed in the good at heart. And of course, Emmett would share, I gave my voice to him in the play. He shares a little bit of reticence and rage about how the haters are allowed to get away with it, get away and not be stopped. And the message is about remembering history and not repeating it. And in the process, we must have a call to action, call the good people to action. As we see from yesterday, hate still lives.
Unfortunately. William and Janet Langhart Cohen, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Great to be with you.
Thank you.